Hey, welcome to Adventures with Peps. Today we are painting a Klegg. This time I am going for the orange and yellow spacesuit look of the sensitive Klegg. We start with his underskin tones, which is made with the Army Speed Paint Malagant Green. Gives it this lovely shade of green that I absolutely love. It's such a nice shade of green. Look at it, it's kind of limey, it's very light. Nothing too crazy. Then we go for the sunward facing part of the skin, his upper skin levels. I'm going to use Absolution Green for this. I assume this is meant to be a Dark Angel type of green, if you were looking for something similar in the Games Workshop range. As you can see, it is going on. Very dark, very lovely. It's going to pop against that lighter green. And I guess I should really talk a bit about the model. So I primed it black, then I dry brushed it with grey, and then I gave it a very quick dry brushing of a white. This is going to help just work the tones in for this speed paint to sit on. It speeds up some of the shadow work that I want to get done, and I just find it helps me work out what I need to do on the model in general. Yes, I'm using this on his hands and the upper half of his face, making sure to dodge the teeth and the eyes. But yeah, I love speed paints. I think by now you all know this. There's two ways to use them. In most of my videos, I slap on the paint and let it rest for the most part. This one, I'm going to take it an extra level. We're going to try and do some highlights. Going to fill out the base colors. I want this model to be bright, just like the artwork that I'm basing it off, which is from Judge Dredd Trifecta, and it's the sensitive Klegg that Dirty Frank meets aboard the Luna 1 space station, and he's going after Overdrive Inc., the evil shark boss, which I really hope Warlord Games make him. I think that would make an excellent model. But the sensitive Klegg, unlike his brethren, hates eating human flesh. He's a very sensitive soul. He ends up moving to Mega City 1 and actually becoming part of the populace, even though he's pretty much hated by everyone because of who he is. But when I saw that color scheme in the magazine, I knew I had to try it out. Don't get me wrong, the blue and yellow, the classic color scheme, looks great. But orange and white, I think, is going to really pop. And since we have some great orange paints now in my range, I knew it was time to finally try it out. So I'm just finishing up the final touches with this green. I think he's looking good. I love the contrast paints, just speed me through this process so much quicker than it would have done in the past. I then move on to Holy White, which comes out looking grey. It's not going to give you a white finish, it's going to give you a grey finish. So I'm using it on his boots, his belt, his harness, and then his body armor, I guess you'd call it. As you can see, I'm doing this stage first because I know it's going to finish grey. So if I make any mistakes, the orange jumpsuit that's going to get painted next will hide all my horrible mistakes. The way you have to treat Holy White is that it's not giving you a white, it's giving you the shadows. Put this in, you let it hit the recesses, then you either go over with a nice white and leave the deep recesses alone, or you give it a dry brush and pick out the edging. I tried both on this model later, as you'll see. But yeah, as long as you realize that this is grey, it's a very light grey, it's for you trying to pick out your shadows, it is not going to give you a white result. Unless you're using a brilliant white underneath and you've really watered this down, in which case it's basically a shade paint. This is now, I think, Klegg number 5 for me. Got one more Klegg to paint, which I think I'm going to go yellow and black. I'm not going to do a tutorial on that one, just like I didn't do a tutorial on the red and black one. Though I like it. This, I'm only doing a tutorial because I got artwork that I'm trying to base it off and I wanted to show off what I was thinking. and hopefully you like it. Then move on to Slaughter Red, a classic red. This is going to be for the gun casing, just to give it a pop of colour. This also allows the Holy White to dry a bit longer before I attempt to put orange next to it. As you can see, it's really nothing fancy. I'm loading up my brush, I'm painting it on, making sure not to go over anything delicate that I don't want to go back and try and fix at a later date. I will also be highlighting this later. I believe I use Corn Red, and that's just a simple dry brush over it to pick out some of the edging. But as you can see, this red paint goes on beautifully, it covers wonderfully. Just a real pop of colour. At this point I spotted a bit of flash on the barrel that I've missed. Yeah, look at it. It's already looking pretty cool. You then move into the Gravelord Grey, I believe. Hang on. Yep, there we go. Oh my god, nearly forgot the paint name. Gravelord Grey. So this is going to be what would be the metallics on the gun, I guess. I hate using metallic paint for the most part. So I'm just using this. It's going to give it a matte finish. I can imagine it being some weird kind of plasticky component in the future. I doubt they'd keep using rare metals if they don't have to. So I'm just picking out all the sections that aren't red. At this point it also bleeds a little bit. I didn't let that red dry fully. But it really doesn't matter because there was enough black that it looks dark. It also fix up the base where some of my dry brushing had lightened it up too much. And we are ready for the main component of this model, the Fire Giant Orange jumpsuit. This is a beautiful colour. Army Painter, I think he did a great job on these paints. This orange is so bright, especially when it goes on perfect white. It really like explodes off the model. But with this grey tonal setup, as you can see, it's going on a little bit duller, and that's great for what I want because I'm planning on coming back in with different paints to pick out highlights and brighten up the colours. So this is purely base work, trying to get the shadows going, trying to get some dark details in there. Now, I'm hoping everybody by now has watched my battle report for Judge Dredd, Sugar Rush. It was the first episode. The second episode should be coming very soon. I'm trying to work my way through a few projects at this time. And then I want to have a proper battle report where I build the two forces. I go over how I'm building them. And then we have the battle report to see who wins. My idea is going to be Kleggs versus the City Death, which is the military wing of every city block. In theory, for every Klegg I get, I'm probably going to get between 2 and 3 City Death models, so you could end up with 3 Kleggs versus 9 military combatants. Could even be worse odds than that. I just think it'd be hilarious. Some Kleggs have appeared. They come in raiding. Maybe I'll have a judge kicking around to help out the citizens. But yeah, the idea will be these guys are coming in. They're looking for fresh meat. The military has responded to try and defend their block. And then maybe around turn 4 or 5, a judge will appear to help chase the Kleggs off. But yeah, if you've got other ideas, let me know what you'd love to see me do. It could be unboxing, it could be painting. Ideally, Warlord games. If it is Warlord games, I would prefer it to be 2008 themed if you're asking for something. Otherwise, I'm a little bit interested in bolt action. I am thinking of starting a desert rat army at some point. So watch that space. Hopefully I can use those models in Judge Dredd as well as something weird, some weird story. And with that, we are coming near the end of his orange jumpsuit. Just look at it popping now. He looks cool. At this stage, I would normally call it job done. I got the base coats on. It's looking good. No need to mess around anymore. But for once, I'm going a step further. This is where my videos normally end, so you're in for a treat now. We're probably, try to remember, probably 25 minutes into the actual painting process. You've maybe only seen 10.5 minutes. I've sped it up. But we then pick up the Rackham flesh from the Games Workshop range. It's the new Barbarian line they have for Chaos. I'm using it on his teeth to help make them stand out. It's very hard to see currently, but they do pop a lot more. I'm also picking out his fingernails, because you gotta make him look reptilian. There you go, you can see it on his hand a bit better than the teeth. Very simple step. You just have to be patient and neat as much as possible. Then we move into the Flash Git Yellow. Using this on the eyes. In the artwork, as you can see, he's got bright yellow eyes with a little black dot in the middle. I hate painting pupils. We're going to leave that right till the end. Maybe I'll decide to do it, maybe I won't. I actually know, because this is a voiceover after the process. But you can wait till the end to find out. We then move on to Corax White. I decided to use this one in like a skull white or titanium white. Reason being, it's a creamier, more natural earth shade. It's not too crazy white. Now, initially I start off by trying to be super neat and tidy. I'm like going around trying to do some comic book-esque line shading, I guess, or line highlighting. I do it on both boots. I like the look, but as I progress along this model, I decide that isn't working for me, and I start blocking in the colors using the grey as the shade. But I think it's worth pointing out, you gotta give stuff a go. I may have liked this and done the whole model in that way, but I realized it was a bit pointless, so I stopped. With that in mind, I'll skip forward, and you can see we've now moved on to his legs. Gonna do his other boot in a similar fashion, so we'll skip forward again a little bit more. Right, it's around here that I finally give up on the idea of line highlighting. It seemed a pointless endeavor, especially as the grey isn't the color that I was looking for, though that would be the color that I'm left with. So I start trying to block in the larger panels, with the idea of going back to the boots later. And I'm trying to leave, where possible, the grey in the shadows to give me some very heavy depth to the model. This is a bit of a time eating project here, so we'll skip forward a little bit and then pop back in once more of this is done. This was really enjoyable to do. Basically, I really watered down my brush, got the white on. This Corax white is pretty thick in the pot, but with some water on the brush, as you can see, it goes on pretty smoothly. I'm really liking the effect I get. Hope you do too. It stands out against the orange, which is what I was hoping for. Looks like the artwork. Am I gonna win awards? No, not at all. You're watching the wrong channel for that. What I am gonna have though is a beautiful model from 3 foot away, and I'll challenge anyone to disagree with that. And with the final cuff done, you can see what I'm up to now. Look at that. Beautiful. I then fixed the boots, which was pretty quick and easy. They are mostly this giant cuff part that goes over the shin area. I forgot what part of the leg that was. Then there's the ankle braces and obviously the foot part itself. And with the other foot completed, or almost completed, I am getting heavy 1980s moon-based alpha sci-fi shows coming from this, where they all wore the bright, crazy colours. Maybe a bit of Doctor Who coming through. At this point, I could have said, right, we're done. But no, I need that jumpsuit to be brighter. So I had to reach for my Troll Slayer Orange by Games Workshop. This is probably the brightest orange paint I own. It's actually probably the brightest paint I own, full stop. And I am just gonna load up the brush, load it onto the model. I'm gonna keep all the recesses very dark. I don't want to go too crazy. I want to show off the texture of the spacesuit, but I also want to brighten him up. This is going to be the most comic book colored figure I've done since the Fatty model. And whilst I'm doing that, let's do some self-promotion. I recently passed 500 followers. Thank you all very much. It's allowed me to unlock my community posts finally. So I hope you'll check them out now and again to see what I'm getting up to, see what the next video might be. I'm going to try and keep on top of posting there. But I'm also not going to try and overload you with notifications. I know that can also be annoying. I'm also trying to play around with shorts. We'll see how that goes. I'm mostly sticking to Pokemon on the shorts. So if you don't like Pokemon, hopefully they're not appearing in your feed too often. And then finally, I just want to say thank you once again for getting me past that 500 mark. I'm so happy. That's been a personal goal of mine for 2022. So having that completed has made me really happy. So I truly appreciate the support, and I hope you keep coming back into 2023. And I'm gonna probably post today, if you're watching this live, or on at least the same day of posting. There will be a poll asking what model I should try and paint next. It's either gonna be some Warhammer 40k terrain, I think, or maybe some Judge Dredd judges. So look out for that. If you head over to the channel, it's probably a lot easier to find in the community post. But you may also see it pop up in your feed somewhere. At this stage, we are probably now, what, 2/3 through the bodysuit? And he's so bright now. Now and again, I question what I'm doing whilst I'm doing it. But this one, there's no question. I love it. I am over the moon with this model. I think he's the perfect pose for me to do this on because his posture is very open, which lets me get to all the nooks and crannies, which is great for this orange. And it just looks exactly how I envisioned it in my head. I'm sure if I challenged somebody like Mediocre Miniatures, he'd make this pop even more. But yeah, look at it. I love it. I'm so happy. Right, I'm going to shut up for a bit, let you enjoy the rest of the video and the music, and hopefully you'll join me in the next video soon. As always, really appreciate the support. Cheers for watching.